Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to introduce Christine Quiros today. She's one of my best friends in the whole wide world, and I'm excited to catch up with her after many, many years that she has been in the military. And it's going to be a pleasure for me to have her share her journey through the military with you. And so, first of all, just let her tell us a little bit more about herself.
Well, Kimberly, first of all, let me tell you that I'm privileged you considered me for this interview. I'm pleased to share a little bit about my journey with you. My name is Christine Quiros, formerly Martinez. My parents are Arnold and Dolores V. Hill. I was actually born in Alamosa, but I was raised in San Luis. I served 23 years in the United States Army in a variety of different roles and leadership positions. Ultimately, I was able to attain the rank of Master Sergeant, which is the eighth highest enlisted rank. In 2016, I retired from Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and I moved to Orlando, Florida with my husband, Javier, who also retired after 20 years. And together we're blessed to have 2 daughters and 1 son.
Oh, so great to hear. Master Sergeant, that is such an incredible accomplishment. I'm so, so proud of you. So can you tell me a little bit about that journey and how you got to that ranking? That's awesome.
Well, I'll tell you that I was very inspired at the beginning of my journey. You and I, we both grew up in the same circle of friends. So you know that I lived with Denise and her family for a few months during my senior year. I was very fortunate to spend time with them. And I know you're aware that Faye, her older sister, she enlisted a few years before me. Now, that was actually my first experience seeing a female soldier. And in my eyes, I wanted to be like her. Like, she was the epitome of strength, and I wanted to be just like her. Someone else who inspired me was my Aunt Jessica. You know, she's always pushed me to be determined, to want to be successful, to create goals for myself. And I can't forget about our classmate, Jerry Gold. I owe him a debt of gratitude because he initially piqued my interest in looking into the Army and learning how to pay for college through the Army. What he really did was push me to commit, and he introduced me to the recruiter that enlisted both of us in the delayed entry program.
Right. So you enlisted immediately after high school?
I did.
Went to basic training. Yeah.
So with the delayed entry program, I actually enlisted a few months before graduation with the commitment to leave for basic training immediately after graduation.
Okay. Cool. So tell me about that. What was basic training like, and what did you obviously re-enlisted after that, after you did your deployments, and what kind of travel experience did you get to have through all that time?
Well, I went to basic training for 10 weeks in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Then I went to AIT, which is Advanced Individual Training, for 9 weeks, also at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, where I qualified to be a 42 Alpha.
Okay, and what does that mean?
So 42 Alpha is the MOS. It's called Military Occupational Specialty Code, and it's a human resources specialist. Okay. So this job requires a security clearance, and you become responsible for every aspect of personnel strength management, all administrative functions such as pay, promotion, awards, evaluation processing, readiness, accountability, postal, just to name a few. So, wow. All this ensures that leaders, soldiers, and their families are taken care of. And of course, I have to emphasize that no matter what job you choose, you're a soldier first. So yeah. You do have to maintain your level of physical fitness. You have to stay disciplined. And, that comes along with becoming a subject matter expert in your field.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, I know very little about all the acronyms and stuff like that about the military. So thank you for breaking that down. That's pretty cool. That's awesome.
I'll try to, anytime I use an acronym, I'll try to explain what it is. So
okay.
Take that into consideration. So thank you for pointing that out.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, and then back to the travel thing. Before we get started with that, I want to just say that I love, love, love your background. Oh my gosh, that is your virtual background. It's so amazing because it feels like we're talking on the mesa like when we were kids. It's so cool. It feels like I'm at home. And so thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Well, thank you, Kim. I mean, you actually inspired me to choose this background. This is one of my favorite places. And I think with this background, I'm a little more comfortable today and a little more confident about talking to you about my journey. So,
well, it makes us feel like home, and home is always an awesome place. It's always in my
absolutely.
heart.
So. It's definitely one of my favorite places.
You and I have a ton of fun memories growing up there.
Yeah, tons.
So going back to the travel, what kind of places did you get to travel to?
So with some of my experiences, during my tenure, I traveled to about 12 different countries and maybe 18 different states. I really enjoyed Spain, Japan, and Hawaii, but definitely Italy has to be my favorite. I was really, really amazed by the culture and the food.
Amazing, beautiful. Yeah, so that has to be your favorite spot, huh? How long did you get to stay there?
I was stationed in Italy 3 years.
For 3 years, oh my gosh. So did you learn a little Italian?
Well, a little bit. But most of what I learned, I probably already forgot. Yeah. I was going to say fa bene, which but no, it was definitely great. It was great times, and I don't think that I would have been able to experience that if I would have chosen another path.
Yeah, that's a huge benefit of being in the military for sure. What other types of experiences and accomplishments did you have throughout that experience? Because 23 years is a long time, and I'm just so proud of you that you were on that journey for so long. And so I know that aside from your ranking, which is incredible, what else? What other?
Thank you for giving me so much credit, but I have a lot of people to thank. I moved through the first few years of my career, and to be honest, my family and my grandparents, they were my biggest advocates during this time, especially my grandfather, Alex Espinoza. He was a World War II veteran, Purple Heart recipient, and his example really motivated me to continue my career and continue serving. I also had a lot of superiors that were exceptional role models. I had peers that challenged me, and I had a lot of subordinates that really counted on me. And I felt like that was really special because I made a difference with regard to, teaching or training them, mentoring them. So that was significant.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that about your grandfather too. We have a huge history of military service from the Valley. I think that we're all very, very proud of, and dating back all the way to the American Revolution. And so that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do this series. And so thank you for being a part of it. And yeah, you're right. Without mentorship, I think, lots of our paths and our journeys would be difficult. So tell me about some of your accomplishments that you were able to obtain along the way.
Well, the first 10 years, it was a whirlwind of exciting experiences, mentorship, discipline training. I had a lot of opportunities to make myself competitive for promotion. Mm-hmm. A few of my best memories happened to be getting selected to be part of the Fort Knox first all-female color guard. Mm-hmm. This was formed to commemorate Captain Mary Oberst, who was a Nurse Corps World War II veteran. She actually survived being a prisoner of war for almost 3 years back in 1942. Meeting her was absolutely remarkable, and this was a very historical ceremony. So the pictures are actually displayed in the United States Army Women's Museum in Fort Lee, Virginia.
Wow. So if I go there, I'll see one of my best friends.
Something else I'm pretty happy to say, I was inducted into the Sergeant Audie Murphy Club. Now this club, it's actually named after one of the most decorated American combat soldiers of World War II. It's a professional organization of NCOs, non-commissioned officers, who exemplify Army values, leadership, and this is actually limited to the top 10%, which is very significant for me. It was very challenging. So Another thing, is that I also achieved a lot of accolades. There's a lot of competitive things you can do while you're in the military, in the Army. I had a lot of fun privileges also, like skydiving with the Army Golden Knights, the parachute team.
How fun.
That was great. That was so much fun. My first experience skydiving. And in 2014, it was my second deployment, my third deployment. I got to meet President Obama. I got to shake his hand. He surprised the troops and he visited Bagram.
Wow.
His speech was so inspiring, and it was very much appreciated by all the troops in attendance. In my opinion, he was a phenomenal commander-in-chief.
Well, that's great to hear. He's such an eloquent speaker. That's so cool. What an awesome experience. Any other experiences that you want to share that inspired you to continue and to move along the ranks, and give you the courage and motivation to continue to go higher?
Well, I'll tell you that the latter part of my career was much more challenging. This is right after 9/11 occurred, the attacks. So the focus was on the global war on terrorism, and that changed the dynamic for every branch. So it became something that you committed to and you were obligated to, but more so you wanted to continue serving. It was a newfound motivation, and the support was then OEF, which is Operation Enduring Freedom, and OIF, Operation Iraqi Freedom. I have a lot of experience with regard to the conflicts and what transpired during those conflicts. I did multiple deployments, and it really opened my eyes to the politics, especially with regard to how the country suffered under the Taliban regime. It was extremely personal for me too, because I had experienced a little bit of gender discrimination in the military, but not to the extent of what was going on in Afghanistan and what I was able to witness. How women and children were treated, how the absence of women's rights were excluded, and they were basically denied education, healthcare, which made me understand and get a bigger interest in why I was doing what I do, or why I continued doing what I did. It gave me a newfound respect, definitely, for all of our opportunities, that exist in the military, both for men and women in the civilian sector as well. This also made me open my eyes and realize how much my comrades were sacrificing, especially those in direct combat roles. And it, unfortunately, there was a lot of individuals who made that ultimate sacrifice. They came back with TBIs, which is traumatic brain injuries, severe physical wounds, PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And I realized how very honorable what I was doing really mattered. And
Absolutely.
One thing that I have to emphasize, though, that each one of us, no matter what we sacrificed, we decided to do this, and we decided to make the choice to serve, and we volunteered to do so. And I think I speak for a lot of veterans that we were and are very proud of our service.
We're very grateful, let me tell you. I think it's an admirable thing to serve your country. And so, we all live in this country and experience the freedoms that we have because of your service. And so we owe you all such a debt of gratitude for all of that. So thank you. Thank you. Something that you said, I think, made me think of another question for you. Being in a different country or a different place also kind of does open your eyes to things around the world that you don't necessarily get to see when you live in one space for a given time. And so those kinds of experiences, I think, are so, so invaluable. And I always encourage my students, my kids, and anyone, to spend a significant amount of time someplace else, in a place where you're not used to being. And I think being immersed in that kind of an environment does open your eyes to other things that you might not get to, experience in any other place. You can't really read it from a book the same way that you can understand it by actually being there. And so, yeah, thank you for sharing that experience with the women's rights, stuff like that. And so, and how that impacted you, because I think that's very, very powerful. Something that you can share here and let people know, how fortunate we are, for sure. So thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. Sharing in this type of forum isn't easy, and dealing with PTSD is an ongoing process for me personally. I am very fortunate to receive treatment through the VA and through private insurance because of the benefits that I earn. But I really want to emphasize that we owe it to ourselves, to our loved ones, to take care of our physical and mental health. I really commend those that take this step because admitting that there's an issue is not easy. And asking for help is very difficult, but it's also a sign of strength.
Absolutely.
Stress is an inevitable part of our lives, unfortunately, especially with what's going on today with this COVID pandemic. So it's important how you choose to deal with it. Your choice can either enhance, or diminish your quality of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I couldn't agree more about the idea of strength behind taking care of yourself and seeking, help, when you need it, because I think that's how we all grow. That makes sense. And I think for me, that's one of the things that I always try to emphasize with my students and my kids too, is doing everything you can to reach your best and highest potential. And I think that's part of it. So thank you for sharing that very personal journey.
I agree with everything you said. It's perfectly stated. Absolutely. I absolutely agree.
Yeah. So is there a certain obstacle that you had to endure while you were there that you can think of that you overcame, and what kind of inspiration helped you overcome that obstacle?
There were many obstacles.
I'm sure, yeah.
But a major obstacle I dealt with was, becoming a mother and making the decision to stay active duty. Leaving your children to travel across the world without knowing if you'll make it back is the most heart-wrenching thing I've ever had to do. Gosh. I wasn't able to do this without friends, family support, prayers, especially from my dad Arnold, my aunt Lucille, and of course my sister Beatrice. Even today, she's still my rock. But together, they really helped me stay focused and always reminded me that what I was doing, the sacrifice that I was making, it was for my kids, to give them a better future. And one thing is that missing milestones, I can never get that time back. It was very upsetting, and I will still always feel a certain level of guilt over it. But what will forever be ingrained in my heart and my mind is how my kids dealt with it. Their level of resilience, their toughness, and, most important, their bravery, which is really what kept me going. Wow.
Yeah, and you can't do it all on your own. So such a blessing to have that amazing support that you just talked about. So amazing. Have your sister and your dad and your aunt, can't do it. Can't do any of it on your own. That's so important. And you're right. Kids are very resilient. Are they aspiring to join the military too, in some aspects? Because you've become this huge role model for them right now. That's a huge part of it too.
At this moment, our daughters, they're 15 and 14. My son is 8. So they have no intention of having any type of future having to do with the military. It could be from their experience, or it just could be because they have other options. And I'm okay with that. I respect that decision. But if they change their mind and they want to serve, I would absolutely, be elated. I would support them. But the great thing, and something I feel really good about, is that I've given them that option. Yes. They have the capability to go to school and focus on school. Yeah. So I really just want them to be able to be successful, but more important, be happy. because we only have one life, and it goes by very quickly.
Well, and then that's something else that you've done for them, the sacrifice that you made that you talked about. And that's something that you can feel great about, is knowing that you've set them up for options and opportunities. So they can join the military, or they can go to college, or they can do whatever they want, because you made that happen for them. You've given them that platform and that ability to choose. So be proud of yourself for setting them up that way, because that's huge. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I commend you, because you have that education background. You were always extremely smart in school, and I wasn't. I didn't have options with regard to going to college, and I'm not sure that I would have been successful if I went to college. I
don't know if I would have been successful in the military, so right back at you.
I was able to go to college, and one of the things now is, I'm very grateful and I'm very humbled, because I'm not rich, but I'm happy and I'm comfortable, and I'm able to now dedicate myself to my kids full time, which is something that was always, very important to me, but I could never do during my career. That's just, a fact. And so I don't want to make it seem like it's all perfection, because no, it has a lot of, there are consequences. But like with anything, something worthwhile requires hard work.
Yeah.
It requires commitment, sometimes blood and sweat and even tears.
So, yeah. I mean, I think, that's definitely part of the journeys, whatever journey that you're on, because, there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears going through college too. A lot of different sacrifices in a different way. Yeah. But a lot of fun too, and it sounds like you experienced a lot of the same themes, a lot of fun, travel, getting to know different people and learning new things along the way. And so, what kind of advice do you have, based on all those 23 years and 9 months of experience, for somebody that would want to follow in your footsteps in the military?
Well, you have to do the research on the benefits of joining the Army, or any military branch for that matter. I understand military service isn't for everyone, maybe not long term, but initially I really think you need to look into what your options are. There are misperceptions out there that you can just join the military as a last resort, but you can't. You can't just walk into a recruiting office and sign a contract. You have to qualify, and you need to know what you qualify for. So it really behooves you to go in there and get the information, consider it a stepping stone to fulfill your future goals and aspirations. Yeah. It's all about having a successful future. So, the biggest, most relevant thing that I can say is, whatever you decide to do, never allow limitations to impede your success. Don't give up.
I love it. Yeah, well, those are awesome words to live by. That's for sure. We can't give up. There's always new horizons to pursue, for sure. Yeah. So thank you so much for doing this interview with me. And I'm so proud of all your accomplishments and all the experiences that you've been able to have over the past few years. And it's a source of pride for me to, to be able to catch up with a friend after so many years and to see all the wonderful work that you're doing. So you are definitely a role model for people, for young kids, for people from back home, for everyone, and I'm sure people in the military too that looked up to you and with your ranking and have seen everything that you've accomplished. So yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
As are you. I mean, I'm equally as proud of you, and I'm so proud to call you my friend, and I'm so grateful that we have remained friends after all these years.
Absolutely, me too.
I'm very proud, and I think what you're doing is amazing. I'm very impressed, and I'm so proud to call myself your friend.
Thank you. Same here. Right back at you too. Yeah, and so now we have this platform for anyone that thinks that uneducated or unsuccessful people come out of the valley. That's so not true. We know that there's people in education that have been posted, people that are restaurateurs and business people, and now this whole series on the military. And then there's going to be another one on healthcare. So I'm so glad that you're a part of it and that we can show everybody what we're made of from the Valley.
Well, again, I absolutely appreciate you giving me this opportunity. Absolutely. And I just want to say that honorably serving your country comes with a level of pride and respect, patriotism that will live within you forever. Absolutely. I mean, the title veteran is something that can never be taken away, whether you do a few years or you retire after 20. So I absolutely appreciate you letting me share this today. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. So thank you again, and have a great day.
You have a wonderful day too.
Okay, take good care. Bye-bye.
You take care as well. Bye.
Thank you everybody for watching. This has been a La Gente Legacy production and successful in the SLV military series. Stay tuned for more.